Good afternoon, members of the board. Today you are being asked to vote on the closure of Epic Academy and on providing additional support to ensure Epic can successfully finish the school year. You have heard me advocate repeatedly for additional support to ensure Epic has a successful end to the year, so I'm glad to see that reflected in the amended board report that's on the agenda today. However, there seems to be no proposal for how CPS might recoup the additional funds provided, or on how to hold Epic Academy responsible for their financial choices. There is a clear way to do this. It is to ensure that any funds or profit from the sale of Epic's additional school property go back to the district. CPS funds provided to Epic were used to purchase that property, and those funds and any additional profit should go back to the district and ideally would follow Epic students. For example, if Epic students and staff move to a new school together, those funds could provide additional resources to help with the transition and to ensure students have the support they need to succeed. This brings us to my second and even bigger concern. The proposal before you today is asking you to close a school with no plan for the future of those students or their school community. And these are CPS students. There has been no engagement by CPS with the Epic school community. And let's not pretend that engagement is impossible, because CPS has certainly engaged with families at Shy Arts on the other side of the city. Shy Arts parents received 3 emails in the last week, letting them know when the board would be voting on the future of the school and inviting them to a town hall afterwards. Epic parents have received 0 communication from CPS since September 12th, when CPS sent a letter saying that the school was closing and might even close mid-year. And saying that public comment during these board meetings is sufficient is laughable. Most parents at Epic are working during this time and are not able to attend. And the ones who do have the ability to call in have not been chosen to speak, not last week nor today. So I'm calling on this board to either vote down or significantly amend the proposal on Epic before you today. Ensure that the Epic community has a say in what happens next, and ensure that there is a plan that provides as much stability for the Epic community as possible, whether that's taking over management of the school or moving students and staff together as a community to another school. School closures are devastating, and this board has an opportunity and a responsibility to mitigate the damage. Finally, I want to talk to you about Aspira. Aspira schools are facing significantly decreased enrollment over the last couple years and an operating deficit for this year. And now Aspira is planning significant cuts into staffing in the middle of Q2. These cuts will likely further destabilize these schools. We have lots of questions about how Aspira got to this point, like if enrollment and budgets were down, why weren't there layoffs considered over the summer? Why were these specific educators cut? For example, 2 out of 4 paraprofessionals at Aspira Business and Finance are being cut, meaning the school will no longer be able to provide all of the legally required services to students. So why were they cut? The only full-time ESL teacher at ABF was originally slated to be cut as well. After we raised concerns about the school not being able to provide legally required ESL services, she was recalled. The haphazard nature of these cuts coming in the middle of a school year is very concerning. I also want to flag that the Secretary of CTU's Charter Division has been singled out for layoff despite being one of the most senior members at Aspira and despite his role being essential. He is the Credit Recovery Coordinator at Pantoja, an alternative high school. Credit recovery at alternative schools is essential, but Aspira plans to cut his role with no clear plan for how to provide services in the future. So let's call this what it is: retaliation for speaking out previously about concerns he had with how Aspira was being managed. Given the destabilizing and haphazard nature of the cuts at Aspira, and given the potential cuts to critical legally required services, we are calling on this board and CPS to step in and provide additional support and oversight. Please intervene to ensure stability for these schools' communities and to ensure that these schools don't suffer more cuts that could lead to school closures. And again, I urge you today to be thoughtful about the board report on Epic before you. Please stand up for the students and the educators in that building. Thank you.